Alright, so today we're going to be talking about making an assignment in Google Classroom. And you're going to be doing that the same way that we did for the announcements. So we're going to come down here to the bottom right hand corner and we're going to click on the circle with the plus sign in it. And then we're going to click Create Assignment. Just like with announcements, you're going to see this pop-up window. However, you'll notice that there are some more options for us to choose. The required options are the title and the date. So the title, you're going to want to follow the same naming conventions that you do when you create a folder in Google Drive. And that is the unit, the chapter, or the topic, followed by a brief description. So for example, for my Photoshop unit, I would type in Photoshop, and then it's the poster project. So the students know that they're going to be working on Photoshop, and the details about that is they're going to be creating a poster for it. Down here I can type in any instructions, any information in addition to that I want the students to know. Then for the due date, this is basically where the students are going to find out when this is due. So you can, if you wanted them to know when their tests are going to be, if you want them to know when their projects are going to be due, you're going to set that. So say June 2nd. And then I can choose a time if I want them to know it has to be turned in the night before or at the start of class, and that's something that you can set. And then just like before with announcements, you can attach it from your computer, you can link it to your drive, you can add a YouTube video, or you can share a link. Then down here, you can see it's letting me know it's saved. I can delete this if I don't want it, or just like with announcements, I can assign it right away. I can schedule it for it to go out later on in the week or next week, or I can save it to my draft so that I can work on this later. So it looks very similar to announcements. But the major differences here are, besides adding it to the calendar, this will also create a folder for you inside your Google Drive. And I will go into that in a little bit more detail later on in this video. What I want to do right now is I'm going to take some time to show you guys the different options you have when you attach a document from your computer and when you link it to your drive. So to do that, I'm going to show you what happens when you allow students to view a document, when you allow students to edit a document, and when you make a copy for each student. And it will act a little bit differently depending on whether you upload a file from your computer or you link it to your drive. So I'm going to show you what that looks like for both options. So the first thing I want to do is for my unit, I'm going to say to view, because I want you guys to see what happens when a student views a document, and it's going to be when you view a document that you've uploaded. So then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to say the to view file, and this is just so we can see what it looks like in the drive, and it's just easy for us to remember. And I'm going to say upload. So every time you attach a document, you'll see this window here, and this menu here, and you'll see there's an arrow. So it's telling me I can set students can view, students can edit, and students can will make a copy for each student. Basically, this one here that we're going to do first is students can only view it. They cannot make any changes to the file. It is only theirs to view. I'm going to hit assign. We're going to give that a second. Alright, so over here we can see this is what it looks like for us. And you'll notice here it says the due date, and then it says 0 done and 1 not done. So basically, right now we only have one student in the class, and they have not turned in or clicked that they've done this assignment. Once this student has done that, this number will change to a 0, and this number will change to a 1. So this is a really helpful way for you to keep track of when your students have done something. And you could even do this for a project that they're going to hand in on paper. Once they turn in the project, they can then just log in and say done. So it's a good way for you to keep track of who has finished their project or their test and who has not. So what we want to see now is what that file is going to look like in our drive. So I'm going to go to our Google Drive, and you'll notice it has now created a folder a file called can view. But you notice it didn't create a folder. It just uploaded the file. Alright, so let's go and have a look and see what that looks like in the student's point of view. So again, it just says to view, so this is the name of the assignment, and then here is the assignment. I could ask a question if I wanted to, or I can click and I can open that document. Now I can also click open, and here is where the students would turn in their assignment. If they needed to attach an assignment themselves, they can click add, and then they can choose one of these locations. They could create something straight from Google Docs, and then they would mark it as done. And as soon as this student marks it as done over here, even though I didn't attach anything, I'm just turning in a physical paper, so you'll see it says marked as done here. When I come back to my stream over here, you'll see it says 1 done. So the student has now turned in this assignment. And now because the students turned in the assignment, Google Classroom has created a folder. And it says to view uploaded, right? So you'll notice that there's nothing inside that folder. It's because I just turned in something physical. I didn't attach anything. This is how Google Drive organizes the folder for you. Any student work that they've submitted that falls under that assignment is now going to be placed here. So this is why it's really important that you follow that naming convention. So again, I will see all of my student work here. So if I wanted to stay organized, I can drag this file into that, and it's just letting me know that if I'm sharing this with another teacher, they will still be able to add that. So again, you can just see mine. Now say the student forgot to attach the file. They can click unsubmit, and they can come back and they can attach whatever they need to attach. And I'll just show you what it's going to look like in their folder. So if I was to add a file, and I was just going to say I've completed the worksheet, I've scanned it, and I've now turned this back in. I'm uploading this file, and you'll notice it's also called Can View, so it's going to have the same name, but that's okay, because when I click Turn In, and I come over here, you'll now see the file is called To View, but the difference is over here where it says Last Modified, I can now see the student's name. And this is one of the ways that I'm going to be able to keep track of non-Google Drive files such as PDFs or images or Word documents that the student haven't named. I can see their name over here. So that's what happens when we say to view. Now let's take a look at what happens when we allow them to edit a document. So I'm going to go create assignment, and I'm going to say to edit upload. And I'm just going to come on over here, and we're going to drag the to edit PDF over. And we're going to upload it. So I'm going to click assign. Now I'm going to come over here. We're going to go back to the student stream, and we're going to update it, and now we can see it says can edit. So the student can open up that file, and then when we come back over here to the drive, we'll notice it still hasn't created the folder, but it did upload the can edit file to it. If the student opens this and hits mark as done, we've now told Google Classroom that I'm submitting something. Maybe I've made an attachment, and because I've marked this as done and I'm turning in work, Google Classroom will now create a folder that says to edit, and any student work that they submit is going to be housed in this folder. And again, to stay organized, I can drag this in there so that it's within that, and I can even create a new folder inside of here, and I could call it student work. And anything that the students submit, I can then drag into this folder, and it's just, again, another way for me to stay organized. So now let's have a look and see what happens when we allow each student to get a copy. So we're going to say make copy and upload. We're going to go ahead and attach that file and hit upload. And here's where I want to change that permission to say make a copy for each student, and we're going to assign it. And now you're going to notice a couple of things. Now here it says each student will get a copy of this. So Google Drive has already gone and made a copy for each student. And we're going to notice a couple of changes in our Google Drive. So it's already gone and made a folder for us for that assignment, and I'll come back to that in a second. But you'll also see now it says something templates, do not edit. Anytime you set permissions so that each student gets a copy, what Google Classroom does is it creates this folder and it puts a template. So this is your default copy of that file here. Then over here, you'll see, well, right now it's empty, but if we come over here to the student feed and we show it, once the student opens up this file and views the file, you'll see over here it now says get copy Tobias Hallwood. So now it's created a copy for each student, and each student is going to be labeled appropriately. Alright, so that's kind of the difference between make a copy, to edit, and to view when you upload a file.